Final Fantasy, a series that I find to be pretty alright. Nah, for real, I love this series, even if it sometimes doesn't love me. But that doesn't matter. I have a question. What is the main reason that you play Final Fantasy? Could it be the active time battle where strategy is what truly matters? Maybe the more action-oriented games where you get to control the characters and kick ass? Maybe you're one of those people that doesn't care about combat and likes to listen to the music. Well, personally, when I play a Final Fantasy game, I do it because of the story and especially the characters. This series is responsible for introducing so many amazing characters. Even when the game is bad, the characters are recognizable one way or another. Either that being a good or bad thing is up to you. One day, while I was working on the new Super Mario Bros. Series video, I was looking at the window and had an epiphany. Why not do a top 10 favorite Final Fantasy characters? But there are so many characters in this series that I love so much, so I moved it from 10 to 12. I know it may not seem like much, but believe me, this made my life much easier. First, a couple of ground rules. I will only count 2 characters per game. Say I have 2 characters from 4 in this top 12. That's the maximum number of characters that will be in the top 12. 3 would be overkill. Second, no sequels, prequels, or spin-off. Characters like Zack Fair or Quan from the Vivi prequel won't count. Not that they would appear anyway. And lastly, our MMOOCs won't count. If it did, Final Fantasy XIV would be number 1. I haven't played it yet. And lastly, for real this time, I'm only counting them in terms of story, because if it was story and gameplay, some of these characters wouldn't be here. Before we start with the top 10, here are a couple honorable mentions. Either because I liked other 2 characters of the same game, or because I liked other characters more. Doesn't mean I think they're bad, I just didn't love them as much as the others. Or I didn't really get to, whatever. Tifa from Final Fantasy VII, the emotional anchor of the story and one of the best heroines in the series. Kefka from Final Fantasy VI, a deranged lunatic who actually managed to win. He's such an asshole that I can't help but love to hate. Auron from Final Fantasy X, a grieving guardian turned spirit bound by honor. I love how he only uses one arm, not because he's injured, but because he wants those aura points. Garnet/Dagger from Final Fantasy IX, a clueless yet lovable girl who goes through a major transformation. Not physically, but emotionally and character-wise. I feel paternal when it comes to her. The Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy. The only reason I have him here is because of the respect I have for him. Because if we're talking character-wise, he ain't all that. Thanks to Cydia. And last but not least, Terra from Final Fantasy VI. From her aesthetics to her search for love, Terra is a character that is easy to sympathize with. I like how the love she was looking for didn't end up being romantic, rather motherly, an extremely rare thing to see. Okay, now that we're done with that, let's start the top 12 with... Cecil Harvey, the first great protagonist in the Final Fantasy series. I'm gonna be honest here, the reason I put Cecil on this list is more so because of how significant he is to the series. Not to say he's a bad protagonist, far from it, but compared to other main characters, he's not the greatest. However, he's still a strong main character. Like, for example, he's one of the pioneers when it comes to a redemption story. Yeah, Cecil is quite literally one of the first video game characters to receive a proper redemption. Started from a conflicted Dark Knight, blindly following orders from the King of the Kingdom of Baron. He faces his inner demons and becomes a paladin. A pretty simple character arc, yes, but its simplicity is what makes it a good one. A pioneer in its genre for a damn good reason. Ardyn. I don't like Final Fantasy XV overall, but even I gotta admit that Ardyn is a damn good villain. Is it true that his tragedy is carried by his DLC episode? Yes, Is it also true that he's undoubtedly the most tragic villain in the series? Also yes, the original soon-to-be king 2,000 years ago. He was chosen as the true founder king of Lucis. He selflessly cured the people of the demonic Star Scrooge. I have no idea if I said that correctly. By absorbing the darkness into his body, soon betrayed by his brother as he grew jealous of Arden. The crystal rejects Arden for carrying the darkness inside of him, and his brother stole the throne from him. And to finish it all off, his brother murdered Arden's soon-to-be wife, Era. Yeah, no, I too would have turned evil in this guy's bloodline. He will remain immortal for over 2,000 years until his final battle with Noctis finally freeing him, and bringing back light to Eos. Usually, I don't like when stories have a sympathetic backstory for the villains. I feel like that takes away what makes a villain, well, a villain. But in this case, I think it works. Oh, and if you think we're done talking about Final Fantasy XV, then think again, because number 10 is... The Choco Bros are all good in their right, except for Prompto, but none come close to how fucking cool Ignis is. He's everything to us, our cook, strategist, and most importantly, our driver. In a way, he's the father figure Noctis needs, cause God knows his actual father wants him dead. Stupid prophecy. What truly makes Ignis the best character in the game is all in Chapter 9, the battle against the Leviathan. In an amazing fight against Arden, Ignis uses the Ring of Lucy to save Noctis, but losing his eyesight in the process. Yes, just like Arden, the best moments for his character are stuck in DLC. Yes, it's also true that if it wasn't for that, Ignis wouldn't be in this list. But I like him, damn it! One of the things that makes Ignis so cool is that he remains blind through the whole game. Yeah, there's no spell or item that can recover it. I would say I'm surprised that they kept him blind, but I'm not. This is the same company that kept Rachel dead. They also brought Tidus back to life. But that's besides the point. Yeah, Ignis is cool. I don't think I need to convince you here. Stand him. God, I wish this game was great. Damn you, Square! Oh, Locke. What a messy character you are. And I love your messiness. What makes this thief a treasure hunter special is his journey throughout the whole game. Locke's journey is one about guilt and healing after a horrible event in his life. Locke used to have a girlfriend called Rachel who sadly lost her memories. Later on, she was killed by an Imperial attack. From then on, Locke is motivated to find the legendary treasure to revive his beloved. Or, that's what it is at first. Locke later on meets the former general, Celeste, developing feelings for her while also still thinking of Rachel. Yes, it is possible to fall in love again while also still missing the person you've lost. It's messy, okay, it's very messy, but it's also pretty real. In the world of Ruin, where he thinks he's truly lost everything, he goes back to the one thing he's good at, treasure hunting, and actually finds the legendary Phoenix. Although it doesn't revive Rachel, it does bring peace to Locke and give him the strength to move on, and to give his love to the one that has his heart right now. Oh, I love it. The way his character arc comes to a conclusion with him catching Celeste before she falls is so beautiful. Like, damn it, that shit makes me cry every time that I see it. Locke is a messy character, like I said. He's not what you expect out of a hero in these types of games. Like, who keeps the corpse of their ex-girlfriend on standby? There is someone else that I love even more, and we'll get to them later, but know that Locke is the treasure hunter that stole my heart. Leon. Oh wait, wrong series. Squall. I'm gonna be honest here as well. I don't like Final Fantasy VIII either. I think that game is a mess, but I'd be lying if I didn't think Squall is one of the best protagonists in the series. On the surface, he may seem like the typical emo boy, and there's a reason for why people always say that. But whoever actually thinks that and doesn't engage with his actual character are really missing out. For starters, Squall is a guy who's traumatized after being raised in an orphanage and separated from his surrogate sister, internalizing a fear of abandonment. Relatable! He truly believes that inviting and letting others in is just a gateway to more pain. It is thanks to the deep bond he grows with Rinoa that he learns to let go of that toxic masculinity shit, and completely melting that facade he was living all of his life. Yeah, you could argue that the romance between Squall and Rinoa isn't that good. It is one of the weaker ones in the series for me, but it has its moments. Those moments obviously being Squall letting go of that tough persona he was hiding in. Definitely the best character in Final Fantasy VIII. However, he's ultimately the weakest protagonist in the PS1 trilogy. And speaking of that trilogy, let's go to number 7. Zidane Tribal, a young flirtatious thief who is good at his core. Unlike the main characters that came before and after him, he's not a stoic, edgy boy. He's a little shitter who loves to rage bait people, but most importantly, help whoever he can. Not for any game of his own, but because he feels like it. Something that makes Zidane an interesting character to talk about is that he doesn't really change much, if at all, and usually that would be a bad thing. But for him, I'd say it's one of the strongest reasons for why he's so good. It helps that it's thanks to him that many characters grow and change for the better. Zidane is created by Garland to become the Angel of Death, and even when he has that existential crisis, it's his friends that help him out of that hopelessness. It just speaks so much about his character that each and every one of his friends pull him out of his despair. We also gotta appreciate that Zidane has a love for theatrics. Yep, he's a theater kid! Would explain why Steiner doesn't like him at first. I already made a short talking about why Zidane is one of the best protagonists in a Final Fantasy game, and it just rings true. Long live Sun Wukong! The first time we see Celeste is not long after she left the Gestalian Empire. Her story is similar to Cecil in the sense that she also seeks redemption. Well, not at first, considering she told Locke to leave her to die. That way she can keep her dignity. That's not the point. The point is that she joins the Returners to fight against the Empire. But the moment her character takes a toll is when the Warring Triad destroys the world. And depending on how you do with Cid, he'll survive or die. The choice she makes when Cid dies is the most heartbreaking moment in the series for me. She climbs to the top of that cliff and attempts to take her life. Thankfully, she survived, and a bird carried a bandana that turned out to be Locke's, which gives her the motivation to keep on living. Celeste is hope incarnate, and the main reason for why she's the best character in this game. I can never get tired of her story. That's not even getting into her messy romance with Locke, or even the opera scene in the first half of the game. Celeste is about as perfect as you can get in this game, which says a lot in a game with so many great characters. Alright, we're in the top 5 now. These characters are my favorites in all of video games. So let's get started with number 5. Never in my life I thought I would have a modern Final Fantasy protagonist this high on the list. Yet here we are. Clive Rosfield might be one of the best video game protagonists in this decade. And that's not something I thought when I played it the first time this year. I had to really think about it. Transforming from a guilt-ridden slave who fights for revenge to a compassionate leader who fights for all of humanity may be a simple journey, but how they wrote it into his character was so great. Clive is a character that at first glance lost everything that was important to him, which could have led to his ultimate downfall. Yet despite everything, despite all the terrible things he goes through, despite becoming a broken soldier, despite all the tragedy in his life, he still keeps moving forward. It also helps that Ben Starr's vocal delivery for Clive is chef's kiss. Also helps that Clive is hot as hell. His ending where he sacrifices himself to grant humanity true free will after absorbing the power of Ultima, Clive breaks the cycle and frees the slaves for all time, leaving his fate to be an ambiguous one. Did he die? Did he live? Who knows? Personally, I think he survived. I feel like he was the one who wrote the Final Fantasy book. I know the author is Joshua Rossfield, but Clive also adopts the names of other people to carry their legacies. Sidolphus, anyone? There's a real answer, but only the developers know it. And for me, that's fine, as long as we keep talking about his ultimate fate. Never thought I'd see a tie in this video, but damn it, I love these two characters so much. So I'll start by talking about Cloud Strife. I've mentioned this quite a number of times, that Cloud is one of my favorite video game protagonists of all time. I'd argue the one he's tied with isn't the main character of their own story, but still, Cloud is a special character. To find the perfect balance between serious and edgy, but also have some goofy moments here and there, and not hurt him at all is a hard feat when it comes to character writing. But major props for not actually hurting him. What makes Cloud such a great character? Is it his sword? Is it his hair? I mean, yeah. But also, his existential crisis and trauma makes him a character that is both easy to sympathize with, but also sorta relate to. The way he learns to be vulnerable and open with not just the gang, but also himself is one of the strongest conclusions to his story. And aren't you glad Advent Children ruined him? Just like many characters in the series, Cloud goes through a lot of pain. Unlike others, most, if not all of his pain is deeply psychological, to the point his mind literally breaks and he searches from deep inside to fully accept himself. With Tifa's help, of course. Yet despite all that, he still manages to persevere and become an even better man. And the one tied with him, Yuna. I know she's technically a protagonist in Final Fantasy X too, but for the purposes of this video, I won't count that. We'll only focus on 10. What can I say? She's the greatest heroine in the series for a reason. Her story of going from a summoner who willingly walks to her own death despite her fears to getting her own anatomy back and finding happiness once she decides that the religion she used to follow is kinda bullshit. Once she meets and is influenced by Tidus, she starts to think of a life she never really thought of before. One where she could live, laugh, and do whatever she wants. She rejects the blind obedience and looks for a way to defeat sin without her sacrificing herself. I know I said sequels won't count, but damn it, I love seeing Yuna laughing, singing, and dancing in Final Fantasy X too. After all the shit she went through, I'm glad she was able to finally do what she wanted. She even got Tidus back. Let's just ignore what came after, okay? The novels are not canon. I seriously don't know who to consider number 3. I'm gonna go with Cloud for now. I'll probably change my opinion later on, but even though they are phenomenal characters in their own right, they still fall short to what I consider the greatest villain in all of fiction. Yes, he's that good. Sephiroth in the original Final Fantasy VII game is a perfect villain. He's got everything you love out of a baddie. Is he an intimidating force? Yes. Is he a tragic figure? Yes. Is he hot? Oh, you better believe it. Yeah, he's entertaining in the Remix series, and okay in Advent Children, but none of those games compare to the sheer presence and straight up scare factor of him. He's like a shark in this game. He'll swim circles around you, waiting for the first drop of blood and attack the moment he sees weakness. Only that it's not for survival, but because he wants to torture you. That's the best thing about Sephiroth. It's how he mentally psychologically, and even emotionally fucks with you. Yet despite that, you can still feel ever so sorry for him because you know things could have and should have been different. But alas, we have this angel turning into a devil. And that's what makes him one of the sadder villains in this series. His presence, his pettiness, his mommy issues, it's all just perfect. Undoubtedly, my favorite villain in all of media. Hey, all that glazing for Sephiroth and he's number 2? Then what could possibly be number 1? Well, to the surprise of no one. Yeah, you knew he would be number 1. Vivi is one of the greatest characters created in all of fiction, and I really tried to convince myself into picking someone else for number 1, because I didn't want to have the same opinion as everyone. But no, there was really no other choice. Vivi's arc doesn't have the typical hero's journey or personality. He's a small, timid, clumsy, and rather naive kid who just wanted to see a play. That's all he ever wanted. He's only on this journey because he was dragged into it. It's that simple. Vivi not only finds and meets other black mages like him, but also discovers that he is a prototype of the black mages and that he has a very limited lifespan, meaning that he could sooner or later just stop moving or, as we know, die. He shares a similar fate to Kuya. How they both react and cope with that information couldn't be more different. Kuya goes mad and destroys a planet due to his fear of his own mortality. Vivi decides to confront it and accept the true meaning of life through leaving behind a legacy and the memories he leaves his friends with, despite his fears. It's a beautiful realization that can be both comforting, but also a pretty relatable one. Not to get personal, again, but I've developed a fear of death. That one day I won't be here anymore, and there's nothing I or anyone else could do. And that thought for the longest time scared me. Don't get it wrong, the thought still terrifies the balls out of me. But just like Vivi, I've learned to accept it and keep my chin up. Because life's not a spectator sport. It's not gonna wait for me. I got all of that from a small boy with the biggest of hearts. But his existential dread isn't the only thing that makes him such a beautiful character. He also has his moments of being a silly little guy. From getting married to Kina, to taking a piss with Sedan. Boys will be boys, I guess. He just has this sense of charm and wonder despite his sad circumstances, balancing out what is not only the best character in all of Final Fantasy, but the greatest character Square has ever written. Whew, that was a lot heavier than I anticipated. I don't like getting that personal because I cringe at myself when I edit this, but sometimes that's the best way to show love for a character like Vivi. This has been my top 12. Do you agree or disagree? Tell me how I'm wrong. I'm Shunk the Hunk, and it's been a pleasure to talk more about Final Fantasy. Thank you for watching. And remember, memento mori. Sayonara.